All right, it's 5:30. We're going to go ahead and get started. As always, we'll plug the RBC game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. You have two flavors to choose from. That would be an open game and a 0 to 100 game, and both of those have been getting great attendance. That 0 to 100 game is, I think, sitting at 7 tables the last couple of weeks. So if you've got people who are looking for a gateway to getting set up on Bridge Base Online in a atmosphere with less experienced players that don't feel too much pressure, that would be a great option for them. So tell any of your bridge playing friends about that. So I've culled the email stuff I got from people about stuff to talk about today, and I told you I've got some other stuff to talk about. So how about we just talk about bridge for an hour here? Item number one, and last week we talked a little bit about reverses, and I got a good follow-up question today that was, please speak to responders reverses. I feel like we can knock that out pretty quickly. So if you think about responders reverse, that's either going to be, like, it's always either going to be fourth suit forcing, or it's going to be a new suit by responder that forces opener to the 3 level. FYI, we are looking at your browser, which says open Zoom meeting. Yeah, that's fine. That is the least of my worries on what's accidentally going to be seen on my browser. So, okay, back to reverses. So reverses by responder are going to be basically forcing the game also, right? Because they're either going to be the fourth suit, or they're going to be a new suit by responder that forces opener to the 3 level, or it's going to be something like new minor forcing. So I don't think that you need anything special on that other than the principles of play fourth suit forcing to game, play some flavor of new minor forcing, and play that new suits by a previously unpassed responder are forcing bids. One thing I do want to talk about with the reverses is what to do as responder to clarify your hand strength on the second round. So what we know about reverses from the opener standpoint is, let's go to our handout here. And this is just something we talked about last time. And the 3 items that a reverse shows, so just to clarify what a reverse means up at the top. Opener's second suit is at the 2 level. A reverse is opener's rebid. Okay, something like a diamond, a spade, 2 hearts. Okay, fits the criteria number 1, which is opener's second suit's the 2 level. Opener's second suit is higher ranking than opener's first suit, and the responder has bid at the 1 level. So like if we have a 2/1 auction, reverses are off. It's just, you're just showing shape because hopefully you're playing 2/1 and the partnership is committed to a game. That just makes life a lot easier. So we listed some reverse auctions there. Won't bore you with that again, but here are the things it shows. Something like 17 plus strength-wise, and you have more length in the first suit than the second suit, and you have an unbalanced hand because all the balanced hands would have either opened a no trump with 17 or 2 no trump with 20, or opened a suit and rebid 2 no with the 18 to 19 stuff. So those are the 3 things a reverse shows. A reverse is not game forcing. It's pretty darn close. Okay, contrast that with a jump shift, which is 100% game forcing. Quick example of that: I open a diamond, my partner bids a heart, I rebid 2 spades. That's what's called a jump shift. I've jumped 1 level of the bidding. Like I could have rebid 1 spade, but I bid 2. Those are 100% game forcing. Reverses we might still be able to stop, so we need to know how responder would send up the warning flares that perhaps this auction needs to stop at the 3 level. And here's our clarifications. Nothing interesting there. Let's talk about this responder's second bid. The first question you want to ask yourself, so this is like your first decision point: can you commit to a game opposite a 17 count with 5-4 shape in the two suits that opener has promised. Okay. And if you're out there on kind of a joke of a response, or, maybe you've got 7 or 8 points, but it looks like the hand's a big old misfit, you have two options. And by the way, this is one simple, logical suggestion on how to play this. You will find different experts perhaps espousing different methods, but this one's intuitive and works pretty well. So if you have a weak hand, you can rebid your suit, and that would show at least 5 cards in the suit. Okay. Failing that, you could rebid the cheaper of 2 no trump or the 4th suit. That's if you've only got 4 cards in your original suit. So your two options, say it goes a diamond, a spade, 2 hearts, and we're sitting here on a bad hand. We deem our hand to be not one that we want to be encouraging opener further with. Our two options are we can rebid our suit. That shows 5 spades, and it doesn't clarify strength yet. Okay, opener's going to always be bidding a third time. Failing that, we could bid 2 no trump, because that's the cheaper of, or the 4th suit would be 3 clubs here. And 2 no trump just says, look, I don't have 5 spades because I would have done that otherwise, and I might be passing your next bid. If you do have enough to force to a game, okay, and there's a little box there that reminds you, as always, high card points in the long suits or in partner suit get upgrades. Okay, so if partner's shown 5-4 and you've got this like kind of queen, king looking hand, if your queens are in the 2 suits that partner has not bid, like that's danger Will Robinson right there. But on the other hand, if you've got a 7 count with 2 queens in the suits that partners bid, that's probably enough to commit to a game. Okay, anyway, just a quick reminder on that, your in and out valuation. So if we deem that we have enough to force to game, opposite 17 and the 5-4 shape that partners promised, you can confirm an 8+ card fit for one of opener's suits at the 3 level. Okay, so here that would either be bidding 3 diamonds, shows I have a game force in context, and at least 3 diamonds because you've promised 5. Or you could raise hearts, and that would confirm enough to force to game and at least 4 hearts because opener has promised 4. Option number 2, you could rebid your suit with 5+ cards and keep on bidding later. So notice that anytime we've got 5 cards in our responded suit, we are rebidding the suit, the difference being we might pass opener's next bid if we've got the weak hand. If we've got the strong hand, we need to keep on bidding. You could rebid 3 no trump with stoppers in the 2, or stopper in the 4th suit, and something like 8 to 11 points. Like nothing outstanding, but certainly enough to be in game. That's what 3 no would be. Or your last option, you could rebid the higher of 2 no trump and the 4th suit. So here, 3 clubs, and that would say, partner, I have a good hand. I don't necessarily have a fit for you. I probably don't have a 5th card in my suit because I could have rebid that with a wide range of strength. And I don't have like the jump to 3 no because I've got a boring old 9 count with a stopper in the 4th suit. It's just a catch-all forcing bid there. Okay, so that's a system for what responder can do to clarify strength after opener's reverse and potentially stop the bidding at the 3 level. And one more idea here. Anytime you're playing any sort of relay, like if you're playing Lebensal or anything fancy where one partner asks the other one to bid, say they use this 2 no trump idea. Opener needs to do what's called break the relay if they have some enormous hand that is underrepresented so far. Okay, so if you can't stand for partner to pass, at some point you need to do what's called breaking a relay and not bidding what they've told you to do. Okay, so I hope that'll help clarify some priorities for responder in the situation where opener has reversed and you are trying to sort out your strength and still find the right strain, right? On your second bid. Okay, not seeing any questions in the chat on that. We'll go on. If you are extremely interested in reverses and don't have other resources, I'd be happy to email you a copy of this sheet that we just showed up on the board. Let's talk about some other questions I got. Okay. There was a question about what to open the bidding with when we have a 5-card major and a longer minor. Okay, that's kind of a classic question. And not everybody's the same on this. Some people have kind of different ideas. So the first thing I do when I run into something like this, and you'll see my tabs, I go straight to the Bridge World Standard 2017. And one of the options is, like, if we look at the table of contents or whatever, choice of suit. Okay, and this is just bridgeworld.com. This is one of my main resources for answering questions like this. Okay, so under choice of suit, it says, with a minimum range 5-6 hand, so that's what we're talking about, open in the higher and shorter suit only when the long suits are adjacent. So that's what Bridge World thinks. I go to Washington Standard, and there's an opening bid summary right at the top. One of the things it says is one of a major opening is 12 or more high card points, 5+ in the suit, and it may have a longer minor. Okay, and I looked in the book too, and Steve Robinson, the author, was very adamant about opening 5-card majors, even with like a 6 or 7-card minor. That's his style. Next thing I did was Google Larry Cohen 6'5". I literally went to Google, typed Larry Cohen 6'5". This popped up. You can do that with just about any subject, and whatever Larry Cohen says is going to be solid advice. Feel very confident about that. So he's got a whole article on bidding 6-5 hands. It says he constantly gets asked about the topic and makes a very good point that that's usually a clue that there's different reasonable opinions about it. And he goes on to say he basically that he uses judgment. Okay, so if he's got like a chunky 5-card suit, like say you've got king, queen, jack, 10, 9 of spades, and 6 clubs to the king empty, open a spade by all means. Treat it like a 5-5 hand. It's obviously the way that the bidding and the bonus structure is set up. It gives priority to majors. Okay. If you have, like, say, 6 clubs and 5 spades and both suits are decent, the good thing about this is you're not necessarily going to have to reverse to show your pattern. So say you open a club with 6 of them, partner's probably going to do something like bid a heart, and you can bid a spade, right? So you don't have to reverse with that type of shape. That's one thing going for, like, when you have clubs and spades. Anyway, 6 cards in a major, only 5 in the minor. You obviously open a major. And again, on the rebid, it's going to be a question of, do I rebid my major to show 6, or do I now rebid my minor? And the answer is, like, you got to use your noggin. You got to see what the suits look like. You got to think about what the objectives in the auction are, and just kind of try and do your best. And your judgment improves the more decisions like this you face. But I guess the important thing is to, like, think through the situation and what the most actionable information you can send your partner is. Don't think of it as, like, there's some textbook answer with this type of hand, and I've just got to bid it out because that's the way it is, and I'm not thinking about what I'm trying to accomplish here. As far as, like, the textbook formulaic bidding, that's more generally reserved for balanced hands. Okay, those are definitely like, this is the recipe for 15 to 17 balance. You open a no trump, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he goes on and on here. With 5-5 in the black suits, I prefer to open a spade, but I don't feel strongly about it. I'll open a week 2 with 6-5 if the 6-card suit is good. So summary, there's no one size fits all. So there you go. There's an answer from me that doesn't pin me to any particular thing, so no one can now come up to me and say, but you said. So yeah, those would be my sources. Like, first 3 places I'm going: bridgeworld.com, Washington Standard summary, and Google Larry Cohen plus whatever you want Larry Cohen to talk about. Okay. So that's that. Oh, actually, let me show you the hand from last Thursday that I believe brought up this question. And here's another good source. Here's another huge benefit we can derive from playing online and being able to look at what all the other people who held our hands and faced very similar decisions in a lot of areas, what they did when faced with the same decisions. Just to, it's a constant process of calibrating your decision-making process. So if we go to my history here, and I've got board 18 written down. Open Bridge Raleigh. Ah, yes. Yeah, the Joyces shoved this one in our face. Okay, so the East hand right here, try and make this bigger for you. The East hand, I think, is the one that sent people scrambling to this question, because it's a pretty good hand, right? A very good hand. It's 3.5 losers, and it's 6-5 shape with diamonds and spades. And you'll see that, like, obviously one of the strongest players anywhere, Randy Joyce, chose to open the bidding a spade. And that worked out really well for them, especially when his partner held 7 spades to the king. Okay. So he opened a spade. I went down here to this other tables tab and did a little more rooting around and found somebody who opened a diamond. Where was that? Okay, there's J.L. Rice. That's John Rice. Also, like, one of the strongest players around, and he opened the hand of diamond. So, what I get from that is both options are in the ballpark. Okay. And I guess, you could always ask one of those two guys, what was it about, the hand that made you choose a diamond or a spade? What was your follow-up plan? But, just reading the articles and looking empirically at what happened at our club, you see that different people are doing different things, and that's okay. Bidding's, it's a lot of science, or a lot of art, I should say. And there's certain things that you have to have down rote, but people have different ideas, and that's okay with that. Okay. Again, I'll repeat it. Use the opportunity you have that you are holding the same hands as very, very strong and experienced players in some cases. You have a sample size of like 17 or 18 tables you can look at the auction and the trick by trick play. Take advantage of that. That's good bang for your buck when you're reviewing, is to see especially what stronger players did with the hands that you held. Okay. Let us talk about preempting for a minute. And let's go back to preempting 101 here. Why are we preempting? Well, I would kind of think of it from 3 different reasons that we're preempting. First of all, we're describing a suit where if we played the hand with that trump suit, we would be able to take a fair amount of tricks. And a fair amount is going to vary by seat number and vulnerability, obviously. But what you ideally like to have is a hand that only works or mainly works as offense with that suit, right? So this is why it's not such a great idea to be preempting on a suit that's like Jack 9 sixth when you have queens and kings on the outside and not much shape, you don't want to pin that type of hand into, hey, this hand will only work as offense in this Jack 9 6 suit, because that's not true. That hand could easily be taking more defensive tricks in their side queens and kings than it would be on offense in that suit, particularly if you run into a bad break behind you. So that's one reason we're preempting, is we think that the best description of our hand is, I'll take a lot of tricks in this suit, and the hand really doesn't work very well anywhere else. Another reason we're preempting is to steal auction space. And why are we stealing auction space? Well, if we don't think we have defense, that means we think that they are more likely to have offense. And if they have offense, it's important for us to steal their space. Okay, so that's, I mean, there's no rocket science about that, but that's why we're preempting. Think about why you're doing the things you're doing instead of just, I had a 6-card suit and I had ants in my pants. Okay. Make it be a reason. Have yourself a good suit without stuff on the side. That's the ideal thing. And then you're going to, have some variation based on vulnerability and seat number and partnership style. But always keep in mind what the ideal that you're striving for when you preempt, what that is. Okay. Along with that, now that we've had that caveat, there was a question about whether I should be opening light or preempting. So let's picture you having something like 6-4 shape with 9 points maybe. I would be more likely to open that hand to preempt if all of my stuff is in the 6-card suit. So like I'm much more likely to open a preempt with king, queen, jack, 6th of hearts and jack, 4th of diamonds, maybe a queen somewhere else or something. But that hand seems to me like it's about hearts. Whereas if you start scrambling those high card points around such that I have defense and not such a great suit, I'm more likely to open that bidding at the 1 level. Okay, and I made a video, we talked about it one time. Basically with the unbalanced hands, I'm just doing loser count. And if I come up with 7 or fewer, that's normally going to be enough of an excuse for me to open light on distributional hands. And again, the difference between preempting and just opening at the 1 level, it's kind of going to be suit texture. Okay, if all my stuff is in a suit, 1 suit, that's going to make me lean more towards preempting. If my stuff is kind of scattered around, or if it looks like I have 2 suits that might potentially be useful as trump suits, that's going to make me lean more towards opening at the 1 level. Okay, another bullet point to hit about preempting. And I'm sorry to say I don't have anything tremendous prepared on this tonight. This is probably worth an entire other talk, which is how to bid over their preempts. But I will give you some rules of thumb. Let's say they open a week 2. Okay, so let's take our bread and butter stuff. Let's put that at the top of the chain. If they open 2 diamonds or 2 hearts or 2 spades, if you are to bid 2 no trump, that's a strong no trump. It's 15 to 18 points. It has a stopper in their suit. Remember that when you bid 2 no trump there, when you show a strong no trump with stoppers in their suit, that follows the principle of making the bid that defines your hand. Okay, so usually partner's pretty well placed if he can put you with 16 points, give or take 1, and a heart or a stopper or 2 in their suit. So for instance, seems like lately I've been seeing some situations like where they'll open 2 hearts and the next hand has king, jack, X of hearts and a flat hand and 15 or 16 points. And, maybe they do have 4 spades. Maybe they got 4 spades and 3 in the other suits. And I've been seeing double. too often on these types of hands. Just keep in mind that when you double, your range is ambiguous as to it might be as few as like 11. It might be the rest of the deck. A partner's going to tend to play you for shortness in the suit that you're doubling. And if you have an opportunity in one fell swoop to say, I have a balanced hand, I have, in a best case scenario, you have two stoppers in their suit, and I have 15 to 18, like that's the best information to send your partner. Try not to double with your hand if two no trump is a better description. Okay. Any bids that you make show good hands. Okay, so if they open two hearts and I bid two spades, I would think of that as it's a sound one spade opener. Okay, there's no such thing as preempting once our opponents have preempted. So if they open two hearts on my right and I have king, queen, jack, 10, sixth of spades, and that's it, that's not really enough for a two spade overcall. Okay, we are showing opening bid values when we overcall at the two level, and we'd like to have a good suit. Okay, especially if we're overcalling in a minor, we'd like to have a good suit. If they open two hearts and you jump to three spades, again, the idea being we don't need to preempt their preempts. If we jump to three spades, that's what's called like intermediate. That is a good hand that is spade centric and needs a little bit of help from partner to bid for. Something like a semi-solid 6-card spade suit with 17, 18, something like that. I mean, you're basically telling partner, like, look, if you think you have like a trick and a half over there, you probably should be raising me. I've bothered to jump because I have a very good hand and because this suit is what my hand is about. Okay. If they open a weak two and you bid three no trump, so that's kind of an interesting one, right? What normally that's based on is that you have a long running minor and you have a stopper in their suit. Okay, so if you were to overcall, say, two hearts with three no trump, what I would be thinking your hand is kind of is king third of hearts, maybe a couple of stray queens, and then like a 7-card running minor, something like that, where it's much better to do that than to overcall three of your minor or to double first. And then of course partner's going to bid whatever the unbid major is that you've got a singleton or a doubleton in. That's no good. That's kind of what three no trump would look like. Three of a minor would again be a good hand, and it probably doesn't fit within the parameters of a two no trump overcall. Okay, we're trying to put all those hands that have 15 to 18 and a stopper and look kind of balanced. We're trying to put all those guys into two no trump. Somebody asked about like what would cubiting their suit be if they open two hearts and we bid three hearts. There's a couple of different ways you could play this. I suppose you could play it as Michael's still, like showing spades and a minor. But if you think about that, what's going to happen if your partner doesn't have spades? Like if it goes two hearts on our right, we bid three hearts, and we catch our partner not having spades, we are going to force our partner to the 4 level in whatever minor, it is that we have. So perhaps a better idea is instead of playing Michael's for the Q bid, play that a jump to 4 of a minor shows that minor and the unbid major. So that would kind of like become your Michael's bid. What does three hearts mean now? Well, again, like maybe it's the running minor suit that doesn't have a stopper in their suit. Okay, and it's just basically begging your partner to bid three no trump if you have a stopper in their suit. So that's one idea. I mean, that's what I like. Use jumps to 4 of a minor, kind of as your Michael's bids, and use the Q bid to say, partner, please bid three no trump if you can stop their suit. And what would be the justification for that? Well, you probably have ace, king, queen, seventh of clubs, and another card, something like that. If you, let's say they open two diamonds and you double and subsequently bid a suit of your own, normally that's going to show kind of a flexible type hand. Maybe something like a 5-4 or 6-4. Because remember, like if they open two diamonds, we kind of don't need that concept of doubling and then bidding our own suit with a really good hand, because we already have ways to do that. We could have jumped to 3 spades to show a very nice hand. We could have jumped to 4 spades to show even a better hand than that. So doubling followed by a suit would tend to be some sort of flexibility, perhaps with primary, whatever it is that you're bidding. What about opening major, rebidding minor twist? Oh, yeah, we're back on that. Okay. So those are some ideas about what to do when they preempt. All of your bids show good hands, and try to use that 2 no trump bid to anytime you're within the bounds of 15 to 18 and a couple of stoppers in their suit. One more idea on that. If they open at the 3 level, say they open 3 clubs, you are going to have to be bidding 3 no trump on hands that look maybe a little less strong than you're comfortable with. Okay, so if it goes 3 clubs on your right and you have, say, a 16 count with, 3-2 in the majors, 5 diamonds, king, jack, third of clubs, you kind of just have to bite the bullet and bid 3 no trump on this hand. There's not another way that it's going to get bid. And you are allowed to place your partner with some values in these situations. You're allowed to estimate, hey, I'm in, it would be my fair share of the points to catch about 8 or 9 in the dummy, right? One more thing about that idea, you want to be a little bit more careful in situations where your partner's already a passed hand. So compare partner passes. They bid 3 clubs on my right. I need to be a little bit more careful about like my 3 no trump bids there, because there's no way in the world I'm catching an opening hand in the dummy. That's not in the running anymore because partner couldn't open the bidding. Whereas if partner hasn't had a chance to speak, say the dealer on your right opens 3 clubs, you're going to get stuck bidding 3 no trump, anytime you've got a double club stopper and a pretty reasonable hand, because there's not going to be another way to get to it. Okay, so if they open at the 3 level, you get caught with that type of hand, you just have to bid 3 no and kind of hope for the best. Okay, and I would certainly do that, like maybe even with a 5 card major, if what I've got is king, jack, third of clubs and a flat hand and an 18 count, 3 no is probably a better description of that than say bidding your 5 card spade suit. And if partner can't raise spades and has a reasonable hand, say they've got 8 or 10 points, the thing is, when you're looking at king, jack, third of clubs, you know that it's very unlikely that partner's going to be able to bid 3 no trump. And when you bid 3 spades over 3 clubs, you're kind of doing what's called end playing your partner in the bidding. The only step left before 3 no is him literally bidding 3 no. And he's not going to be able to do that so often when you're the one who's already looking at the double stopper in the suit that they've bid on your right. Okay, so anyway, make that universe of hands that's bidding 2 no and 3 no pretty wide, especially anytime you've got something that's sort of balanced and has the 2 stoppers in their suit. Okay. We've talked about what to do after reverses. Let's do a hand example from this morning's game. Oh, okay, cool. So let me open a teaching table. Board one last night, 11 out of 18 open, two hearts. Oh, let's so I'm noticing something in the chat here. Let's go to this board one from last night. And the chat says, so what I'm at the common game right now because BBO actually is doing something with our hand histories. I can't get to some of the stuff. Plus, I didn't play last night. Board one, 11 out of 18 open, two hearts. So let's take this hand. Queen and one, king, jack, six, jack and one, three small. And let's decide whether we want to open this a heart or two hearts. Let's talk about pluses and minuses. Minuses, my suit quality. King, jack, 8, 6, 5, 4, not great. Pluses, I'm in first seat. First seat's always a good time to be preempting. Neutral is the vulnerability, like white on white. There's no huge reason to be. It's just a neutral situation for preempting. Another minus is that I have soft values like in the queen of spades and the jack of diamonds that probably won't pull their weight in a heart contract, but might very well be defensive values. Minus column, I'm 6-3-2-2 shaped instead of 6-3-3-1. End of the day, it feels like there's a few more minuses that I'm comfortable with for opening two hearts here, but this is certainly kind of in the middle of you could have a reasonable preempting style and be opening this two hearts. If you have a kamikaze style, that's just kind of like all 6 card suits go. So I would expect all those people to do it. But what you're preempting with, like this is a conversation for partnership style, right? And wherever you land on this one is fine. I guess if you force me to say what I would do with this, I probably would have passed, but I'm fine with two hearts. Just keep in mind your checklist, your vulnerability, your seat number, your suit quality, and whether all of your hand is in your suit. Like here, only 4/7 of our hand is in our suit. And I don't have exciting shape. 6-3-2-2 is basically semi-balanced. It's not a great shape for preempting with. Anyway, let's go back to this hand example from today. Okay, so we're going to start a table. We're going to make that smaller again. And we're going to throw this to the table. Okay, cool. So we're going to use this hand to illustrate. I talked about there are too many games that I like to play when I'm really locked in, like I'm really focusing on a session. I'm not just kind of pitching cards and following suit because, like, to be honest, there are days when your mind is concentrating better than other days. But when I'm locked in, I like to play 2 mini games. Mini game one, and these are defensive mini games. Mini game one is count declares shape and try to figure out exactly what's going on the opening lead. So that's like during the hand that you're defending. And mini game two would be at the end of a hand, try to guesstimate what your result, as far as the match points go, would be. So we'll get to that at the end of the hand. This auction went, I guess I should sit down at these so that I can actually bid. Started with 2 passes. I held the north hand, and there's no way in the world that you will stop me from bidding 1 heart on this hand in third chair. Third chair is the only seat I'm going to be opening this a heart. If you'll do your loser count, it's 8. Okay, and that's basically stemming from the fact that you have boring distribution. You have 5-3-3-2 shape. So first and second chair, I'd be laying off. Fourth chair, I would be passing because I don't satisfy the rule of 15, right? My points are 10 and my spade length is 2. And if it were 3 passes to me, I could predict that if I open this hand a heart, instead of just moving on with my life and passing, I can easily predict that the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to go a spade on my left, 2 hearts by partner, 2 spades on my right. Back to me, why did I ever open this hand? Right. And I've just, I had the opportunity to get a raw score of 0, and now I'm going for minus 110 because I didn't follow the rule of 15. Anyway, in third chair, you definitely want to be opening this hand to heart. Notice that the decision-making process for opening this hand to heart goes something like this. Is there a tactical reason to open a bit light here? Yes, my entire hand is hearts. Hearts is what I want led. I want to dissuade partner from leading anything else. It's not, I have 10 points and I have license to bid in the third chair, and there's no thinking that goes on outside of that. For instance, if you took my ace, king, queen of hearts and started scattering the values around, there'd be much less reason to open a heart, because whatever partner ultimately led against a spade contract or against no trump, whatever, you would be able to contribute a card to his lead, right? Here we want to make sure we send the message, partner, hearts is where I live, okay? So I open a heart, won a spade. That looks super normal. And partner bid 2 hearts, that's super normal. And again, it's following the principle of use your one opportunity to speak to define your hand. Partner, we have a heart fit of at least 8 cards, and I have something between 6 and 10 points. Okay, and then we're basically done. West bid 3 clubs here. I don't really love that. At least it's a good suit. What I think a better bid for West would be here is, how about double? Right? Double's just kind of like take out. You're short in their suit. You have 1 card fewer than you would like to bid 2 spades. You have a pretty decent hand. You have like almost your fair share of the points, and everyone else is bidding. And you've got the 2 unbid suits, clubs and diamonds. So if I double here, I sort of get 3 for the price of 1. I get to say I have tolerance for spades without being able to raise them. And I also have the other 2 suits. And you keep 4 balls in play if you double with this hand. You keep passing 2 hearts doubled. I mean, granted, that's not going to happen very often, but you do preserve that option. You keep 2 spades in the picture, and you keep 3 clubs and 3 diamonds in the picture. For instance, look at the East hand. It could very well be the case that you bid 3 clubs and you guys completely lose the diamond fit, right? Like particularly if your partner didn't have quite this good a hand, you would never figure out that you had diamonds. But if you double here, you get to say you get to basically name all 3 of your suits at once instead of committing to the message, hey, my hand's about clubs. Okay. Anyway, went past. There's nothing else to say about here. Why does double show a tolerance for spades? If we think big picture, double is, I guess this, hold on, I'm trying to undo. I think the name of this double technically is responsive, but like I never kind of bothered to memorize all the names of the doubles. Double's just like when they have a fit, double is takeout. And takeout means I'm short in their suit and I have support for all the other things. So double here is kind of like I've got 1/3 desire to raise to 2 spades, and I've got 1/3 desire to bid clubs, and I've got 1/3 desire to bid diamonds. And rather than me committing to one of those actions, why don't you help me out with further describing your hand? Okay. If you bid 3 clubs, like partner doesn't know that you have spades, would think it was a negative double. Again, I think it's technically called responsive, but all of these doubles, negative, support, responsive, I'm not sure what I'm leaving out, but they're all in the subclass of, they are types of takeout doubles. Okay. So think of double, like literally think of yourself as doing this, right? It's like I've got a hand here. It doesn't feel like passes right, but it doesn't feel like any of the other things are right. Okay. And certainly since you're bothering to keep two spades in the picture, I would think it most likely is indicative of a doubleton spade. Anyway, way too much on that one. Goes three clubs, pass. And our East bid three diamonds at this point. That's probably justified given that his partner should have a pretty reasonable hand at this point. And I think that we just played it there. Was that true? No, I think for whatever reason they went back to three spades. I don't know why this happened, but I'm almost sure this is the auction we faced. So now we're going to switch sides of the table and make you north on a heart lead. Okay, my partner chose to lead hearts. They've bid all the other suits. The only other, like in a vacuum, the only other holding that's kind of attractive to lead from would be Queen Jack of clubs, but that's the suit that got bid on our left, so that doesn't seem right. So we're just going to be boring and lead partner suit. The good thing about leading partner suit is you never lose the postmortem. And the idea is small from Jack 9-3. I think I alluded to this maybe last week, but if we support partner and we have something like, 9-7-3, that's a time when we can lead perhaps high if partner already knows that we have three. So maybe when we lead the three, we're showing a card in the suit. Okay, so it goes three of hearts. And what I want you to pretend now is that you are sitting north, having just heard this auction and seeing the dummy and your partner's three of hearts lead. And these are the things I would be doing to try to count declare's hands and figure out what the general direction of the defense should be. Okay, so partners led the three of hearts after raising hearts. That is consistent with either a 3-card heart holding or a 4-card heart holding. And I would be much more inclined to think it's 3 because my partner didn't raise me to the 3 level. Okay, it's possible partner has 4, but I think 3 is more in play. Notice that if you played something like 3rd and 5th leads against suits here, it would be completely disambiguous. You would know that partner had 3. Okay, so what's that mean for declared? It means declare probably has 2 hearts, maybe has 1. If I think back to the auction, she showed 5 spades, so we know about that suit. And she also bid diamonds, which almost surely means she has 4 of them and maybe often 5. But why do I think that probably declare only has 4 diamonds? Well, if she had 5 and there were 4 in the dummy and I have 3, that would give my partner 1. And what we very likely would have seen at trick 1 would be a singleton diamond lead. It's possible, again, like these are all educated guesses. It's not like mathematically proven. Who knows? Declare could have opened a 3-card spade suit. It's her right. I mean, it's not going to work out, but she could have. So I'm thinking that Declare probably has 4 diamonds. She probably has the 3 hearts that we talked about, 5 spades. Why not 6 spades? She might have rebid spades if she had 6 of them rather than mention her 4-card diamond suit. And what's that leave her with? 1 club. Okay, so I think I've got Declare's distribution here on the opening lead. That's 5 spades, 3 hearts, 4 diamonds, 1 club. Well, what's that mean? Is there any place that our tricks are going to? Do we need to be active or passive here? Well, whatever diamond tricks we're getting, right? Declare's got 4 cards in each suit. There's nowhere for her to pitch anything. So we don't have to worry about diamonds. Obviously, we don't have to worry about clubs. Like she's just going to take the ace king of clubs and throw a loser. Can our hearts go anywhere? They might, right? There's one case where they might. Like, say we won the queen of hearts, and we shifted. It's possible that Declare's singleton club is the queen, and that she would win this trick, unblock the queen of clubs, go to the queen of diamonds, and then throw her 2 losing hearts on the ace king of clubs. Okay, so it's actually possible our heart tricks are going somewhere here. And what I would do is go ahead and cash another heart before we did anything else, just in case that's what's going on. And really, that trick one thinking here, it's the only interesting thing that happened on this deal. Like, we got our 2 heart tricks, and we eventually got the ace 10 of spades that partner had, and we scored up minus 140. So, and nothing interesting happened. Here's the next part of the game after you write down minus 140 on this deal. And you'll notice that, like, if we go to double dummy, everything in my hand is going to have an equal sign. Everything leads to making exactly. Partner gets her 2 trump tricks, and that's it. So at the end of the board, again, if I'm kind of having a good day where I'm locked in, I will assign my result one of 5 different grades, either a top, a plus, an average, a minus, or a 0. And all I'm doing is trying to estimate what I think that result is. And it's not so much that I can do anything with that information. Like, it's not like I get to round 8 and say, well, I have a 57.6%, because you're never going to get that precise. But the good habit that it reinforces is making you think about how your raw scores are going to map to a match point result, and remembering that that's always the important thing. It's always important how it match points. So how do I feel about minus 140 on this deal? Well, like, we didn't do anything bad. We bid the hands pretty much right. We arrived in a normal contract. We took our tricks. But the thing is, like, the opponents have gotten the best score possible. They didn't do anything silly. They got a plus score. There wasn't really a chance for us to mess up, really, that much. They stayed out of game with marginal game values. And minus 140 for me kind of feels like a minus. Like, even though it was totally normal and I didn't do anything wrong, it just feels like there's not much that can go right for me here. It feels like I'm getting about 25% on this board. And if we go to the results, you'll see that minus 140 was 21.4%. And it's pretty predictable. It's like anytime it's a part score deal or they stay out of a thin game and make their tricks, it's not going to be good for you. Okay. So that's kind of a fun game to play in my mind, is use that column that has points estimated on your scorecard. If you're bothering keeping score, try and play that game sometime. Also, try and play the game where you don't keep score one night. It's pretty liberating. All right, so that's a couple of mini games that I play. Let's use the remaining 7 minutes here to once again plug Bridge Master and show you a couple of Bridge Master hands that involve the Monty Hall problem, which I hear has been a hot topic the last 7 days. So again, when we want to go to these Bridge Master problems, it's just like when we log into BridgeBase, we get this screen, we get a practice, we hit Bridge Master. And, when you first start doing these, I would literally start at, I would start at level 1 beginner, A1. If I got half an hour to kill, I'll do 6 hands or however many hands now. I'll just pick right back up where I left off. I'll force myself to understand the theme of every single one. Right now, John Cobb and I are actually working through the level 3 hands, which start to get a little bit tricky for me. Like, I'll trip up on about a quarter of these hands on level 3, just to give you an idea. And I'm a decent declare, but honestly, I make tons of mistakes. Everybody makes tons of mistakes. Anyway, level 3, there are a couple deals I wanted to show you. B5, I have half a star on this one. I don't know what that means. Let's look at this deal. We're not playing Texas transfers apparently with the robots. It just goes a no trump 4 hearts. So we're in 4 hearts here. And you count your tricks at trick 1 all the time. Here we have ace of spades, 3 diamonds is 4. And if the guy on my left led away from the king of spades, like say he led the jack from king jack 10, the queen of spades will be another trick. But not a whole lot of people who are going to lead away from the king of spades here, especially not the robots. The robots are some of the most passive leaders in the world. And the other thing is, like, if he just led away from the king of spades here, we wouldn't have a problem. So we're going to lose a spade and 2 clubs. We've got 1 spade and 3 diamond winners. So the entire hand is, can I make 6 tricks out of this heart suit? So whatever, hope springs eternal. We play the queen from the dummy, of course not. And we got to play this trump suit. And the way we're going to play this, like, without getting any extra information, is we're just going to do the 9 never thing, play ace king of hearts, right? So we start off on that plan. Something super interesting happens. The jack falls on our right. What I'm about to say would be the same exact reasoning if the queen had fallen on our right. So anyway, if you haven't seen them yet, there's a video about this exact situation. It's called the Monty Hall problem or restricted choice. And if you're more interested in that, you go to the video or read it on Wikipedia or whatever you want to do. But the long and short of it is, when that jack falls on our right, what is more than likely going on is that it's a singleton and that we need to come back to our hand and now finesse on the second round. We're going to play the 10. And you followed the theme of the deal. This is the point that they wanted to make. It wins. We click through the tricks, and eventually we're going to come to 10 tricks. You can click this show solution button at any point, and it will walk you through the reasoning. So if you're having problems on a hand, go to this, and it says the jack falls, and it actually says restricted choice here, I think. Cross back to his heart, finesse the 10. The principle of restricted choice. All right, so that's B5. Let's do one more and then cut you loose for the evening. Select deal. Let's go to B18 for one more. All right, we get to 3 no trump. And we have 2 clubs and 3 hearts, and 3 diamonds off the top is 8. So if we can somehow make the queen of spades or a 4th diamond, that'll be enough for our contract. And they're going to be nasty and not have this win. The suit does break 4-3. That's good news for us. And we're going to pitch the loser from our hand, right? We need the rest. So I want you to watch what happens here. We're going to cash some hearts. Okay, everybody followed all those. We're going to cash our club winners. Everybody's just following suit. We are not going to play the 7 of diamonds to the dummy. We're going to play the 8 to preserve our option to win a beer later on. Nothing interesting's happened yet. But watch what happens on this queen of diamonds. You'll notice the important cards we were missing were the jack and the 10. And I bet my bottom dollar that the jack or the 10 is going to fall here. Okay. And what this situation is it's restricted choice again. Restricted choice tells us, like on the 3rd round of the suit, we could play for the suit to be 3-3, or we could play West to have Jack singleton at this point, which would give East 10x. When we lead a diamond to our hand, it's 65% that the 7's going to win here. Okay, because we've got a finessing position over the 10x with the a7. It's restricted choice just as much as the other situation was. And it wins, right? And you get a little star. If you went to the movie, it would tell you basically the same thing that it told you for deal B5. And you can go on to the next deal. It keeps track of everything you've solved so that next time you can go back and see what deals you've already knocked out. I can't say enough about this tool. Like, this is the way to improve your declare play reasoning the most efficiently that you can. Anyway, this is such a good tool, and it's free. Use it, use it, use it, use it. So I think we hit all the stuff we wanted to talk about. Preempting. What do we do about bidding when they preempt in front of us? What do we do with the 6-5 hands? They have a 6-card minor and a 5-card major. We fleshed out a little bit, again, about what responder should do after opener reverses. And we talked a little bit about a couple of the mini games that I like to play, which is count declare's shape and estimate what your result is on every board. Just force yourself to do that. Write every board you defend. Force yourself to write a 4-number pattern out that represents what declare's shape was. 5-4-3-1, 5-3-3-2. But maybe you get 10 of them right when you start doing it, and then you gradually get 12 of them right. This is the way to get better, is by counting shapes. Okay, when you're declaring, you can count one of the opponent's shapes, but think it in terms of shapes. Think it in terms of where the tricks are going, whether you need to defend passively or actively, and also like how your score is going to rate. Like, what's minus 140 going to be? Well, probably not really going to be that great because it doesn't beat anything. The best I can hope for is that a whole lot of other people went minus 140, but best case scenario, the entire room did, and my score is 50%. And we know that like a bunch of crazy stuff happens on a bridge deal. So if they just sort of do the normal right thing and take their tricks, we aren't destined for anything more than an average minus. Okay, don't see anything in the chat. Again, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, there's an open game and a 0 to 100. Please encourage your 0 to 100 friends to populate that game. Okay, we really need people playing in that game to eventually feed our bigger games, right? So encourage people to do that. Keep in mind that you know about this fantastic hobby that we have that's so much fun and so frustrating at times, and you want to let other people in on this magic that we have. Okay, I guess that's all I've got. We will play some on Thursday. We'll play some again on Tuesday night, and I'm sure that there will be, like as Mr. Rogers said, there will be new stuff to talk about next time. So I hope this helps. Another quick plug for Chris's game. It's at 7 o'clock in virtual clubs. Grab a partner and go play in the triangle game. I'll see you tomorrow night, hopefully, at the virtual RBC. And take it easy. Good bridge. See you guys soon. Later on.